Hi, welcome back to my channel. And I know it's been a while, but I was called to actually give you guys a reading. Um, and tonight it's gonna be a little bit of a tipsy tarot. I just had a great time. It was my cousin's birthday, and I was called to pull some cards. So we're gonna see what's out here for you guys. Now, I've already pulled. I'm acting like the mic ain't here. Hold on. I've already pulled some oracle cards, so we're gonna see what's up for you guys. So we have evolve into your next beginning. Hope you guys can see that. Okay, evolve into your next becoming. It's a beginning, becoming. So that has less to do with starting anew and more so with integrating certain parts of yourself that maybe you've neglected in the past. Okay? Navigate life with determination, which is the red salmon. And you see it's swimming. I hope it focuses. Okay. Navigate with determination. And you see those salmon are going upstream. Okay. So, first and foremost, before I move on to that, just so you understand where I'm coming from, it says, let your emotions flow. And then it also says, embrace the masculine. Now, whatever shift you're going through internally, because if you haven't been doing any type of internal work or internal shift, this reading is not for you. Because what this tells me is that apart from unmasking the depths of who you are in front of other people, it really talks about anticipating the opposition that you're going to receive from other people, because change is uncomfortable. And even if it's uncomfortable for us to go through the changes that we're going through, it's also difficult for other people to accept the fact that we're different from who they know us to be, right? So you'll know that this reading is for you if you've experienced either opposition or have felt a change with how people actually interact with you based on your soul's growth, right? So I'm getting here, what's really standing out to me is integration. So you might have been somebody who presented yourself in one way, even though, let's say, you were feeling a completely different way internally. And whatever that was internally, it had to have been dark or something that you didn't really want people to see because you were afraid of how they would receive you or interpret that part of you. And what I'm seeing in these cards here is that with you integrating into or evolving into your next becoming, it is going to be difficult for you, one, to even navigate with the new perception that you have of yourself and of your life. And it's also going to be a bit challenging to be around the same people and have the same dynamics that you have with them. So you might even find yourself distancing yourself from people, or people distancing themselves from you, because you're no longer the same. Certain things you won't accept. There are certain ways that you won't behave to make other people feel comfortable. There are certain things that you won't do out of people pleasing. And there's an emphasis here on being comfortable with making other people uncomfortable. Not in a weird way where it's like you're a contrarian and you're just doing it out of wanting other people to feel a way. No, but more so being your authentic self and not really taking on how other people feel about that. And that's actually something that's incredibly difficult to do, especially if you're someone who holds what other people view of you to a high regard, right? Hope that makes sense. Anyway, need and necessity. Now, when I always see this card, that actually plays perfectly into what I was saying about integration. When I see this card, need and necessity, it always gives me a yin yang vibe where yin cannot exist without yang and yang cannot exist without yin. The dark cannot exist without the light and the light cannot exist without the dark. And for you to be able to integrate those two things, it is a need and it is a necessity because it's so important for you to be who you are. And okay, I heard this phrase a few years ago, and I don't remember where I heard it from. I don't remember who said this, but basically, the takeaway was people think that the highest vibration is love, right? The lowest vibration is fear, and the highest vibration is love. But the highest vibration isn't love. The highest vibration is authenticity. So, what that means is being able to stand in your truth and be who you are is the highest vibration. Not hiding behind expectations, not hiding behind social etiquette that goes against your morals and values. So there's an example coming in my mind, and this is a trigger warning because I personally have never went through anything like this, but it is coming up strongly in my mind. So I'm sure it'll resonate with somebody. But let's say, for instance, there is somebody in a family dynamic who is an abuser, and it's an open secret. People are aware that this person is an abuser, whether they're an abuser to their spouse or they're an abuser to children, however it is, right? And if you're a victim of that person, again, trigger warning, please. If this becomes uncomfortable, please feel free to click off the video. But this example is coming through to me very strongly. Let's say if you are somebody who is a victim of this person, of this person's abuse, and there's still somebody who's accepted in the family, and the family actually expects you to put that abuse aside, right? And by refusing to do that, first of all, you're living in your truth, but also you're more likely to face opposition from everybody in your family and have people come down on you like you're doing too much. Even though you're protecting yourself, people may not see it that way, right? So it becomes difficult for people to accept you because you're not willing to put someone's bad behavior or evilness aside, especially when it comes to protecting yourself, right? That is a huge example that came into my mind. Like I said, this is something that I've never experienced myself. So if you're somebody who relates to something like that, I deeply, deeply feel for you. But what these cards are saying is that it's integral and it's so important for you to go through this discomfort because that is your highest vibration, your authenticity. Not pretending like everything is okay, right? Not pretending like those person's actions can be swept aside. And that's just an example, right? It can apply to your career, to your love life, anything. So just making sure that your morals stand in front of any social etiquette that you have or that you're expected to abide by, right? Now, with embrace the masculine, this is interesting because it does apply to integrating your light and shadow side, but more so with embrace the masculine, obviously you would have to embrace your feminine and masculine side. So, what this is basically saying is that as scary as it may be and as uncomfortable as it may be, do not feel any shame in standing up for yourself, or protecting yourself, or standing 10 toes on what it is that you believe. Just because there are people who are either trying to make you feel bad. Let's say people don't um, necessarily express it directly, but if people are trying to make you feel shame for your reality and your truth and whatever pain that you're going through, then it's your duty to deny them putting that on you, right? Because when we experience, you know, abuse or hardship, especially by the hands of other people, there's no shame in either distancing yourself, and you also don't have to explain yourself, especially when there are witnesses. Because let's not pretend like there aren't people that know what we experience and witness it, but act like they don't see it. You know? Um, and if it takes you using your words, um, or even flexing the power that you have, let's say, um, in terms of who enters your home, who can or cannot call you, who you want to or don't want to speak to, whatever your autonomy is, for you to exercise that, there's no shame in that. Putting your foot down. And if people disagree with it, it's like, okay, well, clearly, if they disagree with your autonomy, then they disagree with you as a being. As a living being, they disagree with you completely. So, what does it matter what somebody thinks when they have no consideration for your humanity? Right? Um, Now, with these two cards, honesty and success. Success, I know that there is no greater goal. I know that there is no greater goal than love, okay? And then honesty, I can always expect the truth from others, but I can't expect it from myself. I can't. Sorry. Let me read that again. um Honesty, I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself, right? And that literally speaks to exactly what I was saying. Exactly what I was saying. Ugh, I hope it focuses. There you go. That speaks to exactly what I was saying. Living in your truth. And with the success card, being able to come to terms with the fact that not everybody will accept it, but at the end of the day, you're doing what's best for you. And that is a success because most people aren't even able to do that. Most people have to hide behind their masks. And if you're somebody who's going through the process of unmasking and putting your foot down, drawing boundaries, and saying no, you won't accept certain things or certain people in your life, that is a success in and of itself, right? Let your emotions flow. I didn't show this card. Okay. Let your emotions flow. So don't deny yourself. Don't deny your experience. Do not do that just to make other people feel safer and more comfortable. Because clearly, if it takes you diminishing your experience and your pain for other people to be okay, then those people put themselves above you. So why should you put yourself above them? Right? That doesn't make any sense. It's a visceral reaction. It's a normal reaction to have, because of course, when it comes to group dynamics, we always want to be accepted by people, but at the end of the day, logically speaking, it doesn't make any sense, because then you're not doing any justice to yourself. Right? All right, let's jump into the tarot real quick. I've never gotten a message like this, so clearly this is something that is extremely important for you guys. Benevolent spirit guides of the collective. May you please let us know what the collective needs to know. What does the collective need to know? First card, Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords. What I'm getting from that is that people know what they're doing. When they minimize your pain, when they call you too sensitive, when they say that you're being outrageous, they actually know exactly what it is that they're doing. But because they feel like you're somebody who is more likely to succumb to pressure, that's what they put on you so that they can make themselves feel more comfortable. Oh, man. Let's pick that up. The Sun. And if it hasn't already, what you're going to see is that you're going to be able to see through these people and see that they understand exactly what it is that they're doing. They want to diminish your confidence. They want you to feel like the bad guy. They want you to feel like you need to apologize to them, like you're the person who's wrong. So then at least they justify their actions, and they justify how they either didn't defend or protect you, or how they went against you. Okay, we have the Five of Pentacles reverse. This is literally just clarifying everything that I said, because with this Five of Pentacles, what that tells me is basically transference. It's transferring negative feelings like guilt, shame, remorse onto somebody else. And that's something that's going to become extremely obvious to you. Benevolent spirit guides, what does the collective need to know? What does the collectively need to know? It's so much easier for these people to, this person or these people to look outside of themselves instead of within themselves, because then they don't have to be responsible for their actions. They don't have to be responsible for what they do if they just put it onto somebody else, and that person would be you. Yeah, look at all of this. The Five of Cups reverse. Okay. You know what I'm getting? The Five of Wands reverse. You know what I'm getting? I'm getting that you weren't necessarily the initiator of these issues, but what happens is when people put it onto you, they basically tell you things like you need to be the bigger person, you need to be the mature one, you need to be more understanding. It's all on you. You bear the responsibility of keeping the peace and making things right. And that's master manipulation here with the magician. With the magician here, it's like, because people can see that you mean well, they play up to that, and they bank on the fact that you will understand that taking the higher ground would be the more gracious thing to do. So what they want for you to do is to do that rather than retaliate, rather than draw a boundary, rather than stand 10 toes, or cause friction as a response, just so that everybody can live in peace and harmony. But then what happens? You're the only person who ends up living in disharmony. Then we have the Page of Swords. I need to clarify that. A bunch of cards fell. Hold on. Okay. Please clarify the Page of Swords. Three of Pentacles. Okay. So you're somebody who has been subject to group attacks, like multiple people coming at you at the same time. And that's something that would actually have you doubt yourself, like whether you were being too dramatic or whether you were being too aggressive by taking a stand for yourself or opposing how people were treating you. Page of Pentacles. And this was meant to make you learn. This wasn't meant to teach you about people. This was meant to help you grow in terms of distinguishing between who is worthy of being close to you and who isn't. Who's worthy of being in your life and even entertaining, and who isn't. Seven of Pentacles. Okay, I just got a bunch of Pentacle cards. Page of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, and then I got the Seven of Pentacles. So there's something about a waiting game. So, hold on. May I please get... Hold on. All right, I'm back. So we're quickly gonna pull the last few cards. Let's see. I see something about like a waiting game, like a long game. Because with the Page of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles reverse, and then the Seven of Pentacles, I'm seeing here that there is a process that you have to go through to rebuild. And your integration of your light and your dark side is a part of this process, but there's a need for you to rebuild. And from what I'm seeing in these cards, it's that process has already begun, and you might be at the tail end of it, actually. And with the Seven of Pentacles, I'm getting here that there's been a lot of patience required on your part, because maybe you didn't have all the resources that you technically needed, or the support and community that you needed from people in order to advance. There's something about advancement. And your advancement isn't happening at the snap of a finger or overnight. It's happening gradually. And it's happening in a way where people can't truly see what the outcome of it will be. And that's also part of people's judgment of you, is that they can't see exactly where it is that you'll end up and where it is that you will go. So they fill in the blanks themselves. But that's part of the process. There's a reason for that. Benevolent spirit guides, may you please clarify the Five of Wands and the King of Swords? People are confused by you because they think that you're somebody who's extremely contradicting, but what they don't understand your complexity, because to them, what they consider it is like confusion. They consider you somebody who's confused, or you don't have any direction and you don't know what it is that you want to do, but that's not true. And I think people can kind of pick up on the fact that you have a dualistic nature, and there's a part of you that they can't see and can't quite put a finger on. So what it is that because they're confused by you, what they do is they slap that label onto you and they consider you confused. Because something about you isn't uniform, something about you isn't linear. And it's not all over the place or chaotic, but it isn't one thing. You're not one thing. You're two things at the same time. You're sharp, intellectual, determined, but you're also sensitive and empathetic and loving. So there's a hot and coldness to you that people can't quite understand. And because they're confused by you, they consider you confused, which is projection. Clearly, that's projection. Four of Cups. I'm seeing Gemini a lot. The Gemini is very strong. So Earth, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and then Gemini specifically. And Mercury itself. So your Mercury placement must be very important as well. So those four signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and Gemini, are extremely prominent in your reading. And funny, Gemini is the sign of the twins. So it's one thing representing two sides. And I did say in the beginning, yin and yang. So there's a lot about your complexity that people don't understand. And it's your dual nature that people have a hard time wrapping their heads around. Because to them, like, people can't be two things at the same time. I'm hearing mirror, so you must be a mirror for people as well. And maybe there's parts of themselves that are reflected through you that they refuse to acknowledge as well. So whatever you're reflecting back to people, they don't want to see it. Chariot, reverse. Okay, we're going to get the last couple of cards here, and then we're going to close this out. Oh. Knight of Pentacles. Yeah. People are confused by the direction that you're headed, and people feel like whatever is happening for you is happening extremely slowly. And it seems disjointed, but the thing is, it's not disjointed. It's just that they can't see or predict the outcome of your life. And I think it's a need for people, like people feel a need to put you in a box, and there isn't a box that they can put you in. So it leaves them confused, and it leaves them wondering and trying to fill in the gaps of what are you doing? Where are you going? What will become of you? What is the purpose of your life? Like it just leaves people with a lot of questions, and because of that, because people can't pin you down, to them, yeah, it's almost like they feel like there's something off or wrong about you. But they just can't wrap their minds around the fact that your life and your purpose isn't the same as theirs, and how your life turned out isn't the same as theirs, and the way and the speed that your life is going isn't the same as theirs. You might be a late bloomer, and people don't understand that. I'm hearing expectations, so that there's certain things that people expect out of you, and when you don't reach those expectations, people feel like something's wrong, something's off. When that's not the case, it's just your life path. That's just the journey that you're walking. It's not the same as theirs and most of the people around you. There's something about you where people feel like you're not headed and moving in the direction that you're meant to be. But that's the thing. How are people supposed to know where you're meant to be? They're not God. They don't rule over your life, and they can't say where your life is supposed to be. They can't. That's not for them to decide or even worry about. But they do, which is interesting. All right, I'm going to leave it there for you guys. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and joining my channel. Just make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. And I am also offering personal readings as well. So you can find the link in the description for that. And there is also a tip jar. So, of course, it's never expected, but definitely always appreciated, because I do everything that I can to fund this channel and make sure that my channel grows. So, if you want to see my channel grow, just make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.